a question I had was, um, Felix asks at the beginning of his relationship with Alice, tells her that, hey, I will never read your books really. And Alice, one of the main points of the book is that obviously Alice is an author, successful author, global figure, and she hates how surveilled her life is, and it causes a breakdown for her at some point. Anyway, Felix lets her know that she'll never read her books, and obviously an article is written about it. So this was so funny.
It was so funny. It was so funny. I actually took a picture of this. This is one of the things that I took a picture of. Was like, this is so funny. Wait, where is it? Let me look.
You sent it yesterday. I saw it yesterday or sometime.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you think about this, except the fact that it was funny? Because I remember asking you, our loved ones in K, is this such a big deal?
Anyway, so this is the paragraph that I just want to read it out because I was cackling, child. So it says, I don't know if you've been following any of this, but about a month ago, I was doing an interview over email, and the journalist asked me what my partner thought of my books. Unthinkingly, I wrote back that he had never read them. So of course, this became the headline of my interview. Alice Keller, my boyfriend has never read my books. And afterwards, Felix saw a popular tweet saying something like, "This is tragic. She deserves better." I was cackling because I could see it. Like, you know how people extremely online people are. I'm like, you bitches are miserable. I was like, wow, Sally Rooney, the woman that you are.
It's so funny.
It's so funny. And like, it's true. It's so true. And to answer your question, what do I think about the fact that Felix has never read
Alice's
books? Like at the beginning of, when they go on that date and then he finds out who she is, and he's like, I've never read any of your books, and I think he says, I don't plan on reading them. Is that what he says? I thought that was a bit like, all right, brother, calm down. Like, but I'm just like, yeah, it's normal, it's fine. It's fine. I don't really it's fine, dude. Like, but it also, I think the reason people feel so attacked, I don't know if attacked is the word, but the reason some people think that, they feel some type of ways about that is just this idea of like who you are extends to your output, especially if you're an artist, right? It extends to like your music, your books, your movies, your TV shows, and therefore, if you're my partner, you have to support that. And I'm like, no, you don't really have to, because someone's art. Yeah, like, I mean, I think that like who someone is informs the art that they create, or the art that the things that they but it's just a part. And so, like, for me, example, like if I were like a famous novelist or something, it wouldn't be a big deal if my partner didn't read my work. So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I think the reason people are like, it's kind of like a thing that I've seen on social media, people being like, my partner has to, I would feel deeply offended if this didn't happen, if my partner didn't engage with my writing in particular. And I think some of that has to do with the fact that, like, if you're not like a critically acclaimed, or like whatever, like a writer as massive as Rooney or whatever, if you're just someone that's writing opinion pieces for like the New York Times editorial of like bitch media or whatever, you would like for people to, it's some of it is about clicks, like it's about how can I gain more of an audience. And so like, so it's just this idea, like if you read someone's work, if you're taking the time, that means you care about them. So someone choosing not to do that is like a sign that they don't care about you.
Yeah.
And so I think for a long time I understood that argument, and I think a part of me still does. But when we're talking about a character like Alice in this book, and when her boyfriend's like, I don't really read her work, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's
I can't
because
imagine Felix reading as well. I'm sorry.
like no, I think I can, but I don't know. I just he doesn't read her work, and he doesn't feel the need to, and that's fine.
Yeah, it was really, I like that because I like the way the book picks apart the kind of things chronically online people spend a lot of time thinking about or discoursing about. So this kind of thing of like an attention economy would kind of yield these results where a relationship between two people, let's say someone slips, in this case, Alice says that, oh, my boyfriend doesn't read my books, and what it kind of generates. And I sort of really like that in the book. Not sort of, I like that a lot because even when Alice is talking about her life and how surveilled it is and what the articles people write about her and the assumptions they make about her as a person. I know that people say that it's a stand-in for, Alice is a stand-in for Sally Rooney and she's gone through the same things. But I think for any writer who becomes popular like this, it almost something of a similar nature always happens.
Yeah.
A question that I had as well was the one about Felix. We learned that he's done some really morally questionable things. And I think it sort of brings a lot of stakes between him and Alice at some point during the book, where Alice kind of doesn't confront him necessarily, but shows him that he's quite a jerk to her. And when she finds out that he's watching some really violent pornography, and then they have a conversation about the worst things that he's done as well as she's done. How do you find that scene?
I thought it was engaging. I thought it was like a good writing. I thought like on the craft level it was really good and engaging. And in terms of how the two characters and their reactions. Okay, so like just the first part of that, I thought it was really good writing. And then in terms of how the characters and their reactions to one another, particularly Alice's, it's interesting because I think like the thing that gets Felix to actually like fall in love with Felix to fall in love with Alice is just this idea like she's seen the worst of me and she's still choosing to be here. You know what I mean? And also like with and I do think like there is a bit of an imbalance towards the beginning of the novel, but then towards the end I think that balance is shifted because he also sees her at her worst and he's still like, I'm not going anywhere, like I'm here, dude. Like we're in this. And I think that even with Alice at that point, she's not necessarily being like, I'm seeing the worst of you in this moment and I'm choosing to be with you. I think she's also a little bit surprised by her reaction. She's just going with it. She's like fully in the moment. You know what I mean? And she's not being like, well, this is how I think I should react. She's like, this is how I'm reacting in the moment to it. And also because she's being that way, he also is like revealing a lot more than he thought he would. And part of that is to shock her, but also it's shocking himself because he's like, I don't think I'd be here talking about this, but here I am. And also I think some of that is just like he's like, well, she's this rich novelist person that's like, let's go to Spain. I don't think she really takes me that seriously, so why the hell not? But then it's just like, you know, like when you reveal something like that to someone and they're not like, and their reaction isn't like an immediate shunning, but it also isn't like, oh, you know, everyone makes mistakes, it's fine. It's just like a real life engagement with the person and what they're saying And so yeah, I thought that was really, I really enjoyed it, like on the craft level, but also just on the conversation level, and just like they're both trying to figure it out in the moment. So yeah.
Another thing I really loved is that because Alice talks to Eileen about this later on in one of her emails, and she says, I'm not sure if I should be revealing this firstly, but I found out that Felix has done some really horrible things. But in the moment, I realized that this person is full of remorse and is ashamed of all the things that he did. But like my reaction was basically what you just said, and there was a part where she also realizes that obviously I can't be like, I forgive him because what he has done.
Those things didn't happen to you, yeah.
What he has done also might have a real impact on other people who have to contend with it every single day. So I'm not the one who should be really giving, and I understand my role in all of this. So it was interesting because I think we are in the moment where readers sort of, and I'm including myself in that, moralize if like seeing something like this in a book, we'd assume that the author is saying it's okay, or whatever. But like I think it's almost a reflection of real life. And I really like the fact that the person wrote about it. So it's written about in this book, and seeing that, because we'd like to think our reaction would be like, I mean, there are some of us who'd be like, no, actually, I don't want to be in that type. I don't want to be with you because you did this. Okay, which is fine. But in this book, she chose to go with the, okay, they still are together. So how would a conversation like that actually take place between two people where something of that nature happens? So it was really nice to read about. I also agree with you craft-wise. Yeah. And then because I kept on thinking of Simon as Hot Priest from Fleabag for some reason. I feel like they have similar traits. They're not the same, but anyway, what did you make of Simon and Irene's relationship? How did you find it? Because I also saw yesterday you mentioned when towards the end of the book where there's that huge fight and Simon kind of is expressive about like the relationship he has with Eileen and what Eileen kind of expects from him. And throughout the book, because he mentioned that he's so dependable and he seems like a well put together person, you would have never really guessed that perhaps. So what did you make of the relationship between the two in general?
Honestly, like they were made for each other. not to be, you know, but it's true though. No, okay. But like but I honestly, I'm like, I was just thinking about Simon and his emotional unavailability to Eileen. And I think you can't really, not necessarily as you can't, but it's just like you expecting someone who isn't emotionally available to themselves to be emotionally available to you. It's not going to work, babes. It's simply not going to work. But I also, like in that last conversation that they have, like at Alice's house, that like he's trying, you know, and it's not like a perfect answer. It's like he's not like being perfect in his responses, but like he's trying. And that I think like that's what Eileen needs to see from him. And I think for most of the book, and this isn't just with his relationship with like Eileen, I think this is generally like his relationship with other people. They've been like, he's kind of like, people haven't really required him to try in the same way, but also he hasn't felt the need to be present in the same way because he's never really loved anyone the way that he loves Eileen, answer your question about what I think of the relationship. What do you mean, like, are you referring to like the sort of like the age gap? Why am I saying age gap as if it's not an actual thing? Like there is an age gap, but it's not like huge. It's like 5 years, right? They've known each other. Anyway, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the progression of their relationship throughout the book. So what did you make of it? Because at the beginning, they're obviously not together, and Eileen, we might as well speak about the age gap. Eileen has some huge qualms about the fact that Simon dates women in their early 20s. And then she sort of is dishonest about the fact that she wants to be with Simon, because she does like flirt, obviously, but she never really goes there until she needs to go there. And so I really like that part of at the end of the day, you're going to have to make decisions for yourself. You're going to have to use your words, Eileen or Simon. And so I enjoyed that in that sense of just seeing where they began and seeing them at the end.
I'm thinking about what you said about like how he kind of dates younger women, but he's like in his early mid 30s. I wish I had actual thoughts about this, but I don't feel like he's a bad person. Or like he's I don't really know what to think of that. I just think it's common. Like, and that isn't like a cohesive thought or contribution, but yeah, it's common.
Yeah.
You know, which is once again why I say like this is like Sally Rooney's "We Live in a Society" book. Their relationship. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry, I think also because I asked about this age gap thing, because I agree with you, doesn't necessarily make him a bad person or anything like that. I do, perhaps it has something to do with his emotional unavailability as well. But I also think that it also has to, because I mentioned Eileen speaking to Alice about, I feel a type of way that he dates younger women with 17,000 Instagram followers and those sort of things. I'm like, I think Eileen needs to contend with the fact that she's also younger than Simon, and she liked Simon when she was 15 years old and he was 20. And
20.
What she feels about that, or what we are, you're not really thought to feel about that, but like there is like a sense of, okay, you can't do that. You can't, like, we pathologize age gap relationships, because there was an article you sent me which really changed the way I thought about this. So yeah, I thought that it simmering under, Eileen had some issue, not big issues like capital B issues, but she felt a type of way that, okay, am I one of those women perhaps, or is it because I liked him when I was much younger as well? Like, maybe I'm interpreting it. I'm being an English teacher, but yeah, I did sort of think something along those lines. But back to you with the relationship and the progression of it.
I think they're both aware of it. And I think, because, there's a part of the book where, like it's sort of like replaying an incident that happened when she was 15 and he was 20, and something almost happens, but he's like, I know, but this can't happen. And I think that it's something that he's aware of throughout their relationship. Like even when she's in her late 20s, even when she's 21 and she goes to Paris for the first time, he's aware of it. And he's also, because he's aware of it, he always wants her to make the first move to some degree, because he doesn't want it to ever cross the line where it's like, I'm acting on sort of like, I'm coming across, or I'm being predatory in my actions. I think he's like aware of that, and she's also, I don't know, there's an awareness, I think, that prevents them from getting together earlier. It's that and the fact that they're in different points in their life. And I think the reason they get together when they do at later points in their lives is that I just that awareness of like this sort of friction, the love trumps that I, I wouldn't call it insecurity, but it's something that they're both kind of hyper aware of, and I mean it's also just getting older and being like, whatever, what are people gonna think, so now we mustn't live our lives and love each other because of what people are gonna think. So I think it's just that thing that comes with growth as well. So yeah.
Okay, a theme like that's just simmering, like not simmering, that's central to the book. It's kind of like the pursuit of love amidst like a world in crisis. We live in a society that is collapsing, and hashtag capitalism, all those things. And these characters are speaking about sex, relationships, their friendships. What do you like make of that? Like, I think you like that in the novel, right?
Of course I like it. I mean, I think like there's kind of been this, I think maybe, I don't know if it's because of Trump, like, Trump was the president and then people were like, it's time for me to be a political analyst. Whatever. But yeah, I think like from maybe late 2016 to late 2020, I've seen this a lot in television and literature. I think artists and creators have been sort of grappling with like, how can my art address the times that we're living in, which feels so like quote unquote politically charged. And so I think the question that the characters, but also Rooney is, maybe not Rooney, I don't know, I don't think it's I don't think it's wholly accurate to be like, this is something that she's contending with as well, but certainly the characters in this book are like the world is melting, and here I am thinking about like Felix and Simon and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, like that's totally I mean, I think maybe this has also kind of gotten worse with the pandemic. For me anyway, I'm just like, I'm aware of the need to be politically engaged and like actually be in community, in actual community with people, but I also I feel the need to be emotionally connected to myself and to other people as well, and just live, love, laugh. I definitely, this pandemic has made me a live, love, laugh person. Really? For real. I think maybe I used to understand why people feel a crisis about like the world is melting, and here I am kind of thinking about this boy right here, but I'm just like dude, the world has been melting forever, but like people, like life must go on. Life must go on. And I really I mean, it's literally one of the last chapters in the book, Eileen is like, the world is a mess right now. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but like I'm gonna carve out a little bit of happiness for myself. So yeah.
And when she spoke about like mothers, because I'm on that page now, when I could not stomach the idea of having an abortion just because I'm afraid of climate change.
I love that paragraph. I love that paragraph so much.
Yeah. And I think, and then she goes, no matter what we think or fear about the future of civilization, women all over the world will go on having babies, and I belong with them, and any child that might have belongs to their children.
I think like something that I'm just realizing this now as you're speaking, I really enjoy how pro-human the book is. And I think this kind of, it's like, it speaks to Sally Rooney as well. And like you spoke about like the integrity she imbues in the work as well. And I think that like the idea of like being hopeful amidst all this is like that I really, just the integrity of that. And like the book also, it defies like easy categorization. It's not like, I mean, the idea, because it's some people I guess would read the ending as like, oh, it's easy to, but it's like, no, it actually took a lot, like the journey to get to where both characters are at the like at the moment. It's not like an easy choice. It's a choice, you make a choice and you choose to be happy in it because you made that choice. So yeah, and like we were speaking about this earlier about like the conversation that Felix and Alex have, and it's not an easy conversation, and it doesn't give you easy answers as well. And it's not like prescriptive. It's not saying this is how everyone should handle this conversation, but it's also like in how it's written, it's like, yeah, this is how the character chose to handle it. And that's fine. Like, so I really enjoyed that a lot about the novel. And I enjoyed this and I think this is the one novel in Rooney's literary universe that has the most, this idea that like, amidst all the stuff, there's still, you can choose life. But it's true though.
You can.
But it's true though. Yeah.
All right.
I really enjoyed this book. Like, yeah, it was giving. It was giving. And I mean, it feels like a sort of a prerequisite for when people are reviewing. I mean, this is true for like not just Sally Rooney, but other really high-profile writers as well. It feels like their engagement with their latest works is also an engagement of like their public persona and stuff. And obviously, in this book, it's like there has to be, because there's so much of herself and her experiences that she imbues in one of the characters. But it would have been really nice in the reviews that I've read for there to be more focus on what's on the page as opposed to like her persona or like the things surrounding Sally Rooney, the author, as opposed to what she writes. So yeah, that's all I have to say, because I think that there's a lot on the page, and we've only covered literally a small amount of what she discusses, but like there's so much there. And like, I mean, if you haven't read, I'm like speaking to the people that watch the video, but like seriously, if you've been, I mean, you've probably definitely heard of Sally Rooney and you've like, should I give this chick a chance? Please do, because the conversation surrounding her is sometimes fascinating, sometimes futile, but the work itself really holds up. So yeah.
True. An Irish faith. Thank you, Sinazo, for coming here and chatting with me.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it was always so fun to talk with you, speak with you, and you always think like you smart, and just hearing so refreshing. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you too, Chow. And like, because I was like, I read the questions for it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say, but it's a conversation. So I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.